It was at that precise moment that the detective informed me that I was charged with kidnapping and violence. On May 10th, 2016, at 4:15 p.m., I was in a hotel in Panama. It was a sunny day, beautiful, very beautiful. Suddenly, I get a call from the police. I still remember her words.
This is Detective Henricks from Miami-Dade Police Department.
The detective was requesting a face-to-face meeting with me as soon as possible. I was quite confused. I mentioned to her that my attorney was already in charge of my case. She spoke English, I spoke Spanish. I didn't understand her very well, so an interpreter joined the call. It was at that precise moment that the detective informed me that I was charged with kidnapping and violence. She gave me two options: attend an appointment with her at the police department, or she would come after me, find me, and arrest me. I fell down sitting on my ass on the bed. My heart was racing. My gaze was lost. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. These were extremely serious accusations. And yes, she had the legal power to come to my house and take me into custody. The matter was quite serious. My world was falling apart. I was speechless. And it didn't surprise me that whoever was behind all this was none other than the same person who had abused me for a year and a half. I was wondering, how can someone be able to come up with a false accusation like this? What is this? Well, Dr. Romani talks a lot about how horrible are the legal battles against narcissistic psychopaths. They will do anything to destroy their victim, even make up crimes. A brutal and sad example of this was seen in the case of Johnny Depp. And when there are children involved, it is much worse. They will try to take away full custody, and not because they really love their children. No, they do it just to further destroy that person they once claimed to love. These are dirty battles, and this was just getting started. Meeting with the detective. Several days after landing in Miami, an appointment with the detective was waiting for me at the Miami-Dade police station. That day, I was accompanied and represented by my attorney. I still remember his encouraging words. He told me,
"Magga, you might not get out of the police station and you might get arrested because the charges are absurdly serious."
I took a deep breath, gathered my strength, and handed him the keys to my apartment and my belongings. I was ready to stay behind bars for an injustice. I asked him to contact my family, and that no matter what happened, to please not abandon me in the process. I was terrified. The only thing I thought was that I would be deported. Everything was uncertain. I was afraid. But I didn't give up. I didn't throw in the towel. I didn't quit. This was one more injustice, and I was willing to fight. During the interview with the detective, we went through charge by charge, accusation by accusation. The detective read the police report line by line and showed me the evidence they presented. It turns out that Sherhan Rodriguez was now claiming to be the victim. My jaw was dropping from all the lies and false testimony I was hearing and reading. He and Jose Baez's firm presented that video in which he recorded me reacting after having split my lip. That same video I mentioned to you in episode 8. The surprising thing was that they manipulated and edited the video in a very convenient way to invent a crime. Now he was accusing me of kidnapping and abusing him that day at my house. Now he wanted to make the justice system and the industry believe that I had provoked everything and that I had started all the aggressions. Any similarity between Amber Heard and this individual is not a coincidence. And yes, if he is capable of lying to justice, imagine what else he is capable of. Remember that in the original video, I asked him to leave my house and to stop recording me. But I told him not to leave the house until he erased that video. And that is exactly what they used to say that I had kidnapped him. The video was so conveniently edited. They deleted the fragment where I accused him of breaking my lips, but they left the scene where I defend myself after his aggression, and clearly left the fragment where I was very upset and desperate because of his psychological abuse. I remember him repeating over and over and again that I was assaulting him. At that time, almost 1 year before the crime, I didn't realize that he was incriminating me. Today I understand everything. It turns out that the videos that this criminal illegally records after provoking or abusing his victims are incriminating material. He captures and saves them for years to claim that the victim is the victimizer, and uses them when facing justice or wanting to destroy the reputation of his prey, defaming and ridiculing her. That is to say, everything seems to indicate that he plans in premeditated way how to clean up his actions or criminal acts to escape justice. That is why he kept very well those videos of his ex. It's the same strategy Amber Heard used to destroy Johnny Depp's reputation. It is the same strategy captured by security camera that day he hit me. That video where it is clearly seen how he jumped through the window of my car to continue assaulting me. And upon seeing a witness approaching, he begins to play the role of the victim, the abused. In conclusion, it was all a big legal sham, a trap, which of course led me to have to pay more money in lawyers to defend myself. The detective took my statements and also knew all the details about the current domestic violence case he was facing for assaulting me. I managed to describe and detail to her all the facts that had actually occurred behind the video, and even clarified where I was on the exact date of his false accusations. She began to see several inconsistencies on his part and asked me for evidence to prove what I had told her. She also informed me that he and his attorney had insisted that she come to my trial, the trial that occurred on May 4th, 2016 for the restraining order. After all, she decided to let me go. As I left the police station, I looked up at the sky and felt gratitude in my heart. And it was there, right at that moment, after I had finished the meeting with the detective and learned the details in more depth, that I understood everything. I understood that their intention wasn't to have me arrested at the police station. Their intention was to have me arrested in front of the press on the day of my trial. Let me explain. On May 3rd, 2016, one day before my restraining order trial, he and his attorney, Jose Baez, contacted the detective to request an appointment for the same day. They had a strange urgency. At the meeting, they discussed the edited video and more allegations of other fabricated crimes against me. They accused me of fraud and criminal conduct, more false accusations. They very insistently asked the detective to attend the trial the next day. And because the accusations were so serious, their plan was to have the detective come to court to put me in jail for a lie that could have cost me my freedom, my career, my residency in the United States, and my future. The next day, May 4th, 2016, when I arrived at the courthouse, I could tell there was a lot of press present. There were several media outlets, including Univision, Telemundo, TV Azteca, among others. Suddenly, a journalist innocently asked me, "Hey Magga, do you have a press manager working with you?" I was very surprised by the question. I thought, why would I need a press manager? I gave her a puzzled look and said no. Then she mentioned to me that a well-known Puerto Rican publicist of big artists had called the press to attend the trial because that day the whole truth was going to be uncovered about the Ricky Martin dancers case. This surprised me a lot. I wondered, who is she? And what truth was she referring to if the only truth was that he abused me? And that is why I was asking for a restraining order. The journalist was also very confused because she was wholeheartedly on my side supporting the cause. The truth was that apparently most of the press was there to find out the so-called truth. Then I found out who this publicist was. Someone who works for big names artists whose fees are quite expensive. Again, I could see that there were influential people in the entertainment industry trying to take care of his image, diverting attention from the real crime and supporting him so that his crime would go unpunished. The question was, who could be behind this? Who would be so interested in protecting him? The truth is that the press file was already in court, and this made me even more nervous. Fortunately, my angels and divine justice didn't allow such an unjust and atrocious act to happen. Detective Hendricks decided not to go to court because she was able to find out a lot of information about the accusations of violence that he already had, as well as noticing severe inconsistencies in his testimony. This led her to investigate further in both cases. Later in her investigation, Detective Hendricks found the original video for which I was falsely accused of kidnapping, unedited and unaltered. That is how the detective realized the strategy he uses to record his victims after abusing or provoking them. As I mentioned to you in episode 8, this is called reactive abuse. The amazing thing is that the original video was always in the hands of Jose Baez and his law firm. Everything indicates that they were the ones who edited the video to falsely accuse me of kidnapping. I wonder, is this legal? The fact that a lawyer is part of the alteration of an evidence to incriminate an innocent person. There were so many questions going through my head at that moment. How could these people act this way? Where are the professional ethics of these people? Who was really behind that lawyer and that well-known publicist? My head was spinning, honestly. On the other hand, the attacks on me didn't stop. He continued to defame me on social media and in the entertainment industry, alleging that I had criminal charges to damage my reputation. Sadly and unfortunately, many people in the industry decided to support him and believe him. Meanwhile, I remained silent, very determined to defend myself at all costs, but intelligently. I didn't give in to their provocations. I was determined to do justice and prove my innocence. Of course, I had severe nervous breakdowns. I won't deny it. Because as they say, sometimes the one who best defends himself wins, and they were attacking in a very dirty, unethical, and I think even illegal way. What helped me? That I report him to the law the same night of the crime. That is why it is very, very important that you report it to the police and collect a lot of evidences. Finally, after 7 heavy months, Detective Hendricks, who was investigating the case they invented for me, closed the case because she found severe inconsistencies in the evidence and in his testimonies. Again, their lies were exposed. You can find a copy of the report in the link in the description, so you can see it with your own eyes, study it and analyze it so that this doesn't happen to you. And this is how it was exposed. A person capable of lying to the law, capable of lying to the world. The delicate part of this is that everything seems to indicate that I was dealing with a pathological liar. And the dangerous thing about this type of person is that they are a threat to society, especially in the impunity of their crimes. At that moment, I realized that I was stronger than I thought. I felt empowered, determined, convinced nothing would stop me. And this was just a battle in the middle of a David versus Goliath war. So far, David won, Goliath 0. If you have gone through unfair, toxic, and abusive circumstances, I would like to help you recognize, validate, and release those experiences and emotions. Let's take steps full of self-love, courage, and vulnerability, because You deserve it. Go to the link in the description, maggalife.com/liberation, and get your masterclass and workbook. It's free. With love, Magdiel.